All right, what is going on, everybody? Rand and Jez are back again for our weekly gaming discussion. We call it the Xbox 2. I am one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million.
What's going on, everybody?
Jez, and that right there is Jez, who didn't mute.
Sorry. It's sorted now.
All right, so yes, my intrepid sidekick, Jez. Once again, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you, man? How's it going, man? Everything okay, man? Yeah, I'm pretty hyper.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm doing all right. Been playing some PlayStation this week. Finished up the Destiny raid. Wow, no pony comment? On PlayStation this week? No pony? I thought for sure you'd call me a Sony pony.
Why would I do that? I don't believe in console wars, man. That's just mean. Oh wow, Alexander Chirac has started sponsoring you. What a nice guy.
Thank you for the sponsor, Alexander Chirac. Yeah, so I mean, I guess, before we get going, I received a sponsor button on YouTube. Anybody that wants to support the channel, you can do so. It's just like Twitch or Mixer. It's like $5 a month or whatever. You get like a little icon next to your name, and we'll have like Jez just put in chat, like I'm gonna upload a custom badge and stuff like that. So if anybody wants to do that, you are free to, because it directly helps support the channel. Since this adpocalypse nonsense. Thing about YouTube is most of my videos I upload, Jez, eventually get demonetized because they're not advertiser friendly, and then they eventually get overturned. So it's kind of weird. So I don't know.
That's Google for you, man. That's Google. Evil
It
company.
is.
Very evil.
I
Not
know,
like
right?
Microsoft, who are very nice and kind.
Yeah.
You're evil.
Yeah, so there's the sponsor button. If anybody wants to do that, you don't obviously have to. It's just optional. There's also Super Chat or the donation link in the bottom in the description. But anyways, thank you so much, Alexander. I really do appreciate it. What else? What's on? So we have a lot to talk about today, right? We're going to talk about the Xbox One X standard pre-orders opening up today. We're going to talk about what I consider probably the biggest news of the week. Phil Spencer's big promotion at Xbox. Me and Jez have a lot to say about that. Star Wars Battlefront II 4K, one of Jez's leaks, actually turning out to be correct this time, huh? How about that?
My leaks are always correct.
I guess.
Which one correct? I can't think of any.
I don't know. Were they all correct?
Yeah, I think so. I said they'd use Battlefront 2 to showcase the X, which I suppose isn't completely true, but it kind of sort of is, because they're going to be going through third parties to do that, like Digital Foundry. So maybe, kind of.
So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Fortnite trying to shoulder into PUBG, trying to get the PUBG crowd on console before PUBG comes out. All that kind of stuff.
What's that about? What is that?
I don't know. There's a lot to talk about. We'll get to it all. But of course, as always, first, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing, because this is a gaming podcast first and foremost. We play a lot of video games. And I know, Jez, have you gotten your Xbox One X review unit yet? Because I know you're kind of feeling happy about that.
I haven't, no. I don't know when they're coming, but I do know that I am getting an Xbox One X review unit. Lucky me. And I'll be reviewing the hell out of it. Expect 10,000 words on every tiny little detail, like how responsive the how responsive the wireless pairing button is, and how nice it feels to rub your hand on the yeah, it'll be a good review, basically, is what I'm saying. Rand.
I trust you to write the best review. Here's the thing. I already know what Jez is going to score. It's going to be a 5 out of 5, guaranteed. Mark it down right now. Mark it down right now. 5 out of 5 on Windows Central for the Xbox One X.
Well, the thing is, if I don't review it 5 out of 5 now, you'll say that the only reason I didn't review it 5 out of 5 was to prove you wrong.
That's quite a conundrum, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it is. So maybe I won't give it a review score at all. How about
You
that?
could do that, but then
How
what
about
if
that?
like Microsoft runs a promotional ad with all the different places that gave it 5 out of 5s and 10 out of 10s, but yours not included because you gave it a 4?
Shit. Good point.
Ah,
Well, I don't really care if they list our review codes and stuff because that's not like it makes us any money. So that's for Xbox's benefit more than mine. But I'll give it an honest review, man. I'm not just gonna give it 5 out of 5 because there are reservations I got about it. Like the lineup, for example. Do I really care about playing old games in 4K? Do I really care about that? I don't know if I do, Rand. Do you care about that?
uh, I mean, what about 4K stuff?
Well, playing old games in 4K. I mean,
I
I'd
don't
like
care
to play
about
an
playing old
old
games.
game in
Period.
4K,
You know me,
except
Jez. I
for
don't.
unless they're
I,
Disney and Barbie and stuff.
yeah, I mean, unless they're Disney, Barbie, and stuff like that, I don't care about playing old games. I care about playing new stuff. But again, I'm not. I'm not like everybody else. So
This is
you
true.
know.
No, I'm gonna give it a straight review. I'm not gonna pander to Microsoft. I mean, why bother? Um, I want to inform people whether it's a good product or not. And I already know that the Xbox One X isn't going to be for everyone because it's pretty expensive. And, you know, like I say, 130 games, a lot of those are old games. A lot of those are indie games. You know, I would have been nice to have seen a big, AAA sort of adventure game, to showcase it, exclusive even, So the lineup's part of the product, for me. So I'm gonna give it a critical review, man. I'm not gonna go easy on it. Trust
Right.
in me. Trust in
Oh
me, pal.
no, I know you. I know you review it properly. Um, I know there's some big news. You personally is that you shut down one of the websites that you initially created years and years ago, right?
I did. I did. I shut down ICXM.net.
How'd that have to feel though? I mean, kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, kind of. I made ICXM.net, originally XboxMad.net, back in 2013 or 14. I think it was 2013. I made it over Christmas at work while nobody was looking, hand coded, and it was a total abomination and a mess. But then I redesigned it, and it looked pretty cool, and it was responsive for mobile and all that sort of stuff. I made it just to relearn how to make websites and stuff, and I just made it as a hobby blog. But eventually, we grew to almost 4 million readers, which is pretty amazing. I got hired by Windows Central, and after I left, some of the guys kept it going. Quality maybe dipped a bit, with
Yeah.
maybe, and there was a bit of fanboyism and clickbait here and there, but what can you do? But ICXM, yeah, it was bittersweet shutting it down, But all the writers who are on ICXM found places at other sites. We kickstarted dozens of writing careers for lots of people, which is awesome. So I'm pretty proud of what we achieved with that tiny broken website. And I'm so surprised it never got hacked, Rand, because the database was hosted in a text file. Anyone could have just logged in and hacked that thing at any time. It was the most insecure site ever. But yeah, what are you
Hmm.
gonna do, man? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Gonna do indeed. So I heard some rumors that you're basically moving ICXM all the writers to Windows Central, but that's not entirely true, right? You know how rumors are on the internet.
I don't know where these rumors have come from. We're not all the writers on ICXM found places on other websites. Um, I haven't announced any plans for any writers to join Windows Central. This is the assets for going to Windows Central, like the evergreen the evergreen hits. They're all going to windowscentral.com/gaming now, which is a new website. Well, it's like a sub-site. This is the
Oh,
assets. Got an echo now. Why have you got an echo?
listen,
But
I was just
so,
making sure because someone said they couldn't hear the audio, and I was just making sure it was
oh yeah.
I could hear it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, some people do. Yeah, so Windows Central's absorbed the assets of ICXM, like the social accounts and the website's been redirected. That's it. Don't have any other plans there, so I don't know why that rumor is going around, but I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
indeed, All right, well, that's a little bit of Jez's history with ICXM.net. I kind of feel bad that you had to shut it down. It was part of you and you had to shut it down, but yeah, it'll live on Windows Central. But what have you been up to? I know I turned in yesterday to the morning mixer. Or was that this morning? I forget because I didn't sleep very well. And you and Roby were playing Destiny 2.
Yeah, that's right. I hit 20 on Destiny 2 finally. I don't know what light level I am, but I hit 20, completed the campaign. I thought it was, I thought it sucked, man. To be honest, I thought the campaign was really boring throughout. I mean, the cinematics were really nice, but I was falling asleep by the end, and the last boss was really lame. Uh, you fight that last boss, and then I don't want to spoil it, but I thought the last boss would be a lot more epic given the cinematics that happen. But I didn't, I didn't like it, man. I just didn't think it was that good at all. And it's better than the first game, but that's honestly not saying much in my opinion. So what I want to find out from Destiny is what's the end game like? Is the end game fun? Is the end game rewarding? I think that's really what makes and breaks Destiny, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
I'm gonna check that out, see if it's any good.
I see a few people are saying that they can't see the stream. They
This
can't
is
get it or
weird.
whatever. I don't
It's
know.
working for me. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's working for me. Maybe just reload the page. I don't know.
If the
Anyways,
stream's working, try and hit refresh. Well, there's no point me saying that because they won't be able to actually hear what I'm saying. But anyway, we should just continue. It's
yeah. All right.
working for me.
So, other than Destiny 2, have you been playing anything else?
No, not really. It's been a very busy week because, as we know, the Xbox One X pre-orders went live today, which meant a lot of prep. And also, we were merging the sites and launching the windowscentral.com/gaming. Quick plug there. So, you know, we had to. I've been very busy, man. So, no, I haven't played any games. Actually, well, I played a bit of Divinity Original Sin 2, which is a PC game, which is getting pretty rave reviews. I don't know if you've seen that.
I did. It's pretty ridiculous reviews, and it's actually selling pretty good. It was like 500,000 in a
Yeah, it
couple
is. Yeah.
days or something.
Yeah, it's doing really well. It's surprising that it's doing well because it's turn based, it's isometric. It's not sort of your modern RPG where you run around hack and slash. And also complicated stats and mechanics. It's a deep game, so it's surprising that it's doing so well, and it's awesome that it's doing well because it bodes well for games like Wasteland 3, which is a similar CRPG that's currently in development via Kickstarter. So we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see what happens. And
Right.
also, it's probably going to come to Xbox too.
Yeah, I mean the first one did, so it only makes sense
Yeah.
that the second one would as well. As for me, I've been playing PlayStation this week. I finished off the Order 1886. I finished off Until Dawn last night, which I'll have a review up tomorrow for Until Dawn. And I'm going to finish up Uncharted 4 today, and I'll have that review hopefully out by Friday. But a lot of my time this week was spent playing the Destiny 2 raid, or the endgame, as you kind of talked about.
Yeah.
Um,
How's that? How is that? Can you give us a spoiler-free take on how hard is it? How much coordination do you need? Is it actually engaging, or is it just bullet sponge, bullet sponge, bullet sponge, and then loot? Because if it is, I am going to be pissed off.
well, the only bullet sponge boss is the final boss. Like, he's a bullet sponge, just
Eh,
like all the bosses in it. The other ones, they require a lot of coordination, a lot of movement between people. Some of the things are definitely more enjoyable than the others, like the bathing ritual versus, say, the gauntlet, right? Or I didn't really care for the stealth section with the dogs. I thought that was kind of, I don't know, wasn't as good. But it's only hard if you aren't the right light level for it. So, for any of you guys listening, trying to gear up, I would recommend minimum 280. Like, if you're not light level 280, don't even bother. Like, yeah, you might be able to get through um like the early part of the raid, but like you'll have trouble with the later parts. So for sure, you're probably looking at 280, probably best be 285, and you want people in there that are like almost 300 and 290 to be able to do the boss good. But you're going to need teamwork, and you're going to definitely need communication when you play the game. And that's just kind of the things, because they make you split into teams, they make you call stuff out so other people can do stuff. It's fun. I still think Vault of Glass, which was the first raid in Destiny 1, was better. And this one we played over the course of a week because it was kind of hard getting everybody to come together. And I would say we probably played it for 10 to 12 hours over the course of a week, beating it. But you know how Destiny is. Like, I got the achievement. Yeah, I got some loot. I'm not, and I think I have 3 more achievements. Like, my kind of thing is like, I want to get those 3 other achievements and then never play Destiny ever again until more achievements come out. You know, because I'm not that into the game. I just wanted the completion. So I hopefully
that doesn't sound very engaging.
Well, I mean, have you ever done a raid for Destiny?
I did the very, very first one.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was okay, but I think that was more because I was drunk and playing with friends. But I did it once and I didn't feel compelled to do it again. So that's when I quit Destiny. I did the first raid and never played again.
So do you? Here's the thing. I've never played a raid-like thing before because I never played World of Warcraft. So are you one of those people that kind of compare it to the raids in WoW and you're like, the raids in WoW are so much better?
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem for me. Is I played World of Warcraft so long, and some of the mechanics in the WoW boss battles. I mean, World of Warcraft is basically a boss game, and over the years, they've had to create these increasingly complex boss fights that have unique mechanics that are unique to that boss. I mean, yeah, there are some that I just basically copy and pasted from other bosses, but every now and then there are bosses that are just like so epic and so unique, and then the mechanics never return again. And that's kind of what I compare Destiny to on a subconscious level, I think, because like Destiny 2 is, and Destiny 1 even, is sort of like a quasi MMO. It's not quite MMO, but it almost like teases you that it's like, yeah, we're almost an MMO, but we don't have the cool things that make an MMO cool, but we've got all the annoying bullshit like the grinding and the tokens and stuff. Well, those tokens crack me up because Blizzard actually removed them from WoW because they were boring. You know, it's so fucking boring when I find a secret chest and it's like, oh yeah, I found this cool secret chest, and oh, it's a token. Great.
Yeah, well, you need to find a key to open it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so boring. You know, give me a piece of loot. Give me, something surprising. Chess should never be boring to open. You know, it's a cardinal sin in games to give me a secret chest that has a stupid, shitty token in it. You know, I think lots of Destiny gets just too much stuff wrong, and it stands out because the stuff that it does get right is really, really good. Like the gunplay mechanics are really solid. The artwork is amazing. The backgrounds are amazing. You know, the world design is amazing. But when there's some things that's so amazing, the bad things stand out even more, maybe. And I just think it's really overrated. You know, you criticize Destiny on Twitter, you get fucking attacked, man. People
love Destiny, man. They don't want but that's anything, Jez. Like, that's anything that is somewhat popular. If you would go against the grain, people will attack you. Like my video about Phil Spencer getting his promotion, I was attacked. A lot of negative comments, especially you go out there and you say you like Xbox. You have people come in there and be like, "What's wrong with you?" Right? It just kind of is what it is. Like anything that like people, I don't know what it is. As someone says, they're Twitter warriors or keyboard warriors. You know, how dare you not like something I like, right? How dare you? How dare you not enjoy the same thing I enjoy? I'm going to make sure that I'm going to show you my dissatisfaction that we're not the same and don't hold the same opinions.
Yeah. Sigh.
I know. But anyways, so yeah, I finished up Order 1886, reviews on the channel. I thought it was a pretty cool game. I ain't going to lie. Yeah, it has some issues. You know, the cover-based gunplay, third-person cover-based gunplay, nothing special, kind of generic. The lack of enemy variety kind of really hurts the game. The fact that the Lycans only do one attack is disappointing. I'm not, and like linear, I know a lot of people hate on the linear style gameplay of just, you only ever move to A to B to C to D to E to get to the end. But I don't know. I've never had a problem with linear gameplay. I like open world games and I like linear games. It doesn't matter to me. I like video games, right? So
And
like what I
Barbie
liked, and Barbie
Sorry,
games,
sorry.
and Barbie games. So like what I liked about the Order was I really liked the world building. I like the alternate history that they have with these knights of the round table King Arthur's time. They were fighting
Isn't
these
it
like
set in Britain?
alternate reality in 1886 in Britain.
Oh, that makes it
Um,
awesome straight away.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I thought it was a cool game. Granted, it got kind of trashed when it came out in 2015 because it was $60 and it's like 5 hours long. And it's nothing spectacular. And granted, I did pay $5, but like I had no expectations when I played it and I enjoyed it. I literally finished it in one sitting. So my review's up on the channel if you want to hear more of my thoughts on that. And also, I just finished up Until Dawn last night. But you're going to have to wait for the review tomorrow to see what I think about that. How about that, huh? About the little tease there. You like that tease, Jazz?
I do like that tease.
Yeah. And I also played some mini games. Don't Knock Twice. Don't play that game. Do not play that game. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. There are a lot of games coming out. A lot of games on PlayStation or Xbox. I'm just one person. I try to get to as much stuff as I possibly can get to, but it's kind of tough.
You are a hero, Rand.
I try my best. I try my best. All right. So now that the gaming section is over, we talked about what we've been playing. Let's get into some of the topics for the week. Donate if you think. Yeah, Jazz says, donate if you think Rand is here or sponsor or whatever. Anyways, Jazz.
Yes.
Today was the day Xbox One X standard pre-orders were made available to the world, basically.
Yay!
You didn't get in on the Project Scorpio madness, which was like, what, a month ago or so?
Yeah.
You could get it right now. And I don't know if it's doing well because I really haven't checked. Have you heard anything?
Well, it's sold out in France and Germany, but then again, I highly doubt on Amazon. That is, I highly doubt France and Germany had a particularly big allocation because Germany's a wasteland for Xbox, to be quite honest.
So they got what, like 10 units, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Everyone's got PlayStation and PC in Germany. Microsoft didn't market hard enough in the non-Anglo-centric regions, which is pretty much the way Microsoft does things. It's like UK, America, Canada. Yeah, okay, fair enough. The rest of the world, we'll get to them later. And now Xbox is paying the price for that because that's why France and Germany isn't doing that well. I'll just check what the UK is doing. The UK is usually a pretty good litmus test for this sort of thing. So I doubt that it's sold out in the UK, but let's find out. Can we have a drum roll, Rand? Have you got there we go. It's not sold out in the UK, but and the Scorpio edition is available again. So that's interesting.
I wonder if people canceled their Scorpio edition to get the regular one. Because I saw some people like, I don't want that green Project Scorpio stuff on it, right? So
there's a Forza 7 bundle on. There's a Forza 7 bundle that gives you Forza 7 for £10 off on the UK. There you go.
Mesmo, I am getting the Scorpio edition of the Xbox One X. That is the one I pre-ordered. Alexander says that it is number 1 on Amazon US right now. So
let's check. It's number 1 on the. It's number 1 in the UK as well. And number 1, beating FIFA 18.
FIFA. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, Jazz, but you remember when you and Michael Pachter had your little blowout when he went toe-to-toe throwing punch, and he was like, don't believe the hype because we don't have any information about what any of that stuff means. I don't know if you read Major Nelson's blog today, but he kind of gave a little like more info about the record-setting pre-order. Did you see it?
No, I don't think so.
Because I see everything. He goes, thanks to you, we saw record-setting sellouts in the first 5 days, making Xbox One X the fastest-selling Xbox pre-order ever, with more Xbox One X Project Scorpio Edition consoles pre-ordered in the first 5 days than any Xbox ever. So that was their comparison. The first 5 days. Yeah. So that's a little bit more info on the whole who's the most pre-ordered. They only compared the first 5 days to the 5 days of the other stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting, and I don't know if most people caught that, but I usually catch those type of things because I look for them. Like,
well, it's a little bit more transparent, I guess. So.
yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw like the Destiny when they released their kind of info the last couple days, when they were like, we had 1.2 million concurrent for 8 days, and digital was higher than the first game. But sometimes when you read those press releases, you also have to read in between the lines and see what's not there, right? Because they mentioned digital was bigger than the first game, but of course they don't mention retail, and they don't mention it's bigger than the first game, period. Which should tell you off the bat that Destiny 2 didn't sell as much as Destiny 1. It's all about reading in between the lines and knowing what is there versus what isn't there. And, because PR is all about putting your product in the best possible light, right?
Oh, yeah,
so you look for all the best things about it. So for Destiny's case, digital was better than the first game. And we have all these concurrent users. But it's not like selling better than the first game overall, because if it was, it'd be included in that PR. Anyways, that's just kind of a side there.
They've got to be disappointed with that because I don't know, man. They did the typical Activision thing where they see a bit of success, and then it's just like, okay, we can do this again, re-release the same thing again at the lowest possible cost to ourselves. Add some micropayments in. Basically, what they do with Call of Duty, because they do that with Call of Duty every year. They just reskin it and sell it again. I mean, just to talk generally. Obviously, there's new mechanics occasionally, but for the longest time, Call of Duty. I mean, I haven't played the more recent Call of Duties, but I stopped playing Call of Duty because it was just repackaged every year. They've tried to do that with Destiny, haven't they? Because honestly, the fact that there's no new monsters, almost all the monsters have the same animations, and it's the same engine. It's still 30 frames a second. It doesn't enhance the game in the way a sequel, I would expect a sequel to do. A Call of Duty gets away with that for some reason, but
well, I mean, there's only so many
they
ways you
couldn't
can
do
kill
that.
a human, in a video game, right, Jez? Especially when you're kind of set in that. Which is why
Well,
nobody says, hey, like, I'm sick of killing people in Call of Duty, because, I mean, what
I
else
guess
are
so.
you going to kill?
I guess so, but Destiny just feels like, I don't know, just feels kind of lazy, which is, it's harsh to say that because there's a massive art effort gone into the backgrounds and stuff like that, but like the engine on top just feels the same, and it does that in Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty gets these new maps and people work hard on them and they're complicated, fair enough, but it's just a big reskinning effort. It's disappointing, man, and I'm not surprised. Maybe they could have got away with starting to rehash the game in Destiny 4. But I think after Destiny 1, they should have been addressing player feedback. They should have been addressing the big criticisms about Destiny 1. And there were a lot of them. There were a lot of criticisms about Destiny 1. But they ignored all that. All they saw was the money. They saw the people getting addicted to it. They saw like the opportunity that they could have monetized those concurrent players with micropayments and, they've got consumable shaders and all that stuff. But they didn't address the feedback and the issues with the core game. So
Right.
I think they will see people dropping off that game much more rapidly than they expect, I would think.
Yeah, and that was we went back into Destiny 2 because that's what Jez loves to talk about, but we was kind of like talking about the PR stuff. So anyways, back to Xbox One X pre-orders. Um have you heard anything from your sources about how well they're doing? I mean, because you kind of heard right away with the Project Scorpio edition that it succeeded their expectations. It sold out way faster than they thought it would. I'm just wondering I'm wondering how well these are doing, because I think this is the one to watch for, because like if this doesn't sell out, if this does sell out just as fast or pretty fast, there probably is a lot of really pent up demand for the system outside of maybe the super hardcore. But if you don't see anywhere sell out after a week or two, that could signify you know, maybe it's not reaching as many people as it could, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is the more important one to kind of keep your eye on. But then again, we don't know how many there are. We don't know how many of the Scorpio editions there were, so it's kind of hard to even make a educated guess. I'm not Michael Pachter, so I can't do that. You know.
You mean you can't make stuff up?
I mean, I wish I could make stuff up and get paid for it, but I you know, I don't have that luxury.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, I hope the X does well for them. You know, Microsoft, Xbox needs a boost, and they did get quite a big boost this week when Phil Spencer got promoted, and we're going to talk about that in a bit.
Ooh, segue.
But,
Do you want to segue right into that?
Segue. Yeah, we can segue. That was.
I mean, there's not really much to talk about Xbox One X standard pre-orders other than, hey, you guys in chat, if or anybody listening to this later, if you don't have your Xbox One X and you didn't get one when Project Scorpio came out, you can pre-order the standard edition right now. So, chop chop, if you really want one. Otherwise, I don't know. I know some people are probably waiting for it to show up at their, you know, store on November 7th. But either way, not really much to talk about. It's not like we have any info from Microsoft other than it's out available now. But yeah. Phil Spencer.
My retail source and see what he's saying about it.
Yeah, you do that.
I'll do that.
So, the big news this week was Phil Spencer got a huge promotion at Microsoft. So he's still head of Xbox. He's still head of Xbox. I know I see some people asking if that's like, oh, he got a promotion. Is he no longer head of Xbox? Because I've seen people run with that. Like, what, you know, but no, he's still head of Xbox. He's now, was it vice president of gaming at Microsoft? That's his kind of new title, as well as head of Xbox. And he has a seat at the executive leadership table at Microsoft. So gaming has a voice. Gaming now has a voice right at the table with all the big wigs, the 16 other big wigs at Microsoft. And he no longer has to report directly to Terry Myerson, who was the head of Terry Myerson was what, head of Windows and devices, right? Essentially,
Windows devices group.
Windows devices group. So Phil can directly report to the CEO Satya Nadella, and this means some big things. I mean, potentially some big things. You want to go first, Jeff?
Microsoft Office is coming at Xbox.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Nah, this is a huge deal for gaming at Microsoft because basically what they're saying is they haven't just promoted Phil Spencer, they have promoted gaming to the big boy table at Microsoft. Before the divisions were stuff like Office and Windows and Azure and stuff like that. All of those had a seat at the table, but now gaming itself has a seat at the table of Microsoft executives, it's a really, really big deal because previously Phil Spencer would have had to relay stuff to Terry Myerson, and Terry Myerson, who isn't a gamer, would have had to relay stuff to everyone else, and things get lost in translation. Now with Phil Spencer pitching to the executive board, they'll get more information, in theory anyway. They'll get more information, they'll get better information, they'll get more genuine passion, because quite honestly, when Terry Myerson talks about gaming, he looks like he's going to fall asleep. So it's these little sort of things. It's the human element, you know? And it's going to mean stuff like, I mean, obviously Microsoft and people, they talk all the time, but at these big executive meetings, it's going to mean stuff like linking stuff up with Azure more, linking stuff more directly with Windows more. Basically, Phil Spencer is now on the same level as Terry Myerson and all the other Microsoft big executives in formulating what Microsoft's strategy is going to be moving forward. And for consumers, it's also a big deal because the executive board for Microsoft before was so business centric. You know, Terry Myerson, he cares more about the business sides of Windows, and Satya Nadella obviously came in from Azure and Office background, so he cares more about the business side of things. Obviously, Office is all about business. None of these divisions are about consumers. None of them are about people. And Phil Spencer is now sitting at the table, basically fighting for Microsoft consumers directly to Satya Nadella and saying, like, this is what we need to do for consumers. So I understand consumers better than you guys, because, you know, Phil talks to consumers every day. None of those other executives talk to consumers every day. Terry Myerson doesn't talk to consumers. He talks to press at press conferences, but he doesn't mingle and stuff. Like he goes on stage, lives his keynote, and then disappears. It's not like Phil gets at E3 where Phil gets down in the trenches and fan fest talking to average gamers. So it's a big deal for the psychology of Microsoft, hopefully anyway, and it also shows how critical gaming has become to Microsoft, because with Windows is falling into obscurity because of iPhone and Android and stuff like that, and gaming is the one shining beacon where PC has grown. Like, more people are buying gaming PCs than ever before. More people are using Windows for gaming than ever before. And that's why it's become so important. And for Phil to have to go through Terry before getting a blessing from Satya, that's sort of like, to be honest, I think there's probably a degree of Phil was already probably getting blessings directly from Satya, but this is just a formalization of the fact that Terry isn't the gamer person that needs to be spearheading this. It's Phil Spencer and Phil Spencer's team, and it's Mikey Barra and Aaron Greenberg and all those guys. They get gaming, they get consumers, and it's a really positive step forward for Microsoft to regain its connection to consumers, because under Satya Nadella, it's completely lost it.
Yeah.
He's grown the company to $250 billion increased market cap in a few years, which is insane. He's generated bigger growth for Microsoft than I saw some article, and it was like in the past 2 years, Satya Nadella has grown Microsoft more than Spotify, Uber, and a bunch of other companies combined. That's how much of a turnaround Satya Nadella has made. But it's all cloud and it's all business. Very little of that is the consumer slice of it. So I think hopefully this will, it'll be more good stuff for consumers, and maybe we'll get some more phones.
More phones. Who needs more phones? You have an iPhone. If you want a phone, you either get an iPhone or you get an Android.
So shut up, Rand. No one cares what you think.
That's just kind of how it is.
Shut up, Rand.
Yeah. I echo some of the similar sentiments as you. I see this as gaming having a voice at Microsoft, or at least a bigger voice. They've always kind of been regulated to the kiddie table. And I made that kind of analogy to Thanksgiving dinner in the United States. When you're a kid, you had the adult table where all the adults ate Thanksgiving dinner and talked, and then there was the little kiddie table where all the little kids and all the cousins and stuff ate. But here comes Satya. He comes into the room and he's like, "Phil, get up and come eat with us." So now Phil's at the adult table, and gaming can have a larger voice at Microsoft, because let's honest, Terry Myerson, I don't think he was doing anybody a favor at Xbox. So
no.
to be
it's hard to say. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but from speaking to people at Xbox off the record, frankly, a lot of people at Xbox and across Windows and stuff, a lot of them, there is a sentiment that Terry Myerson doesn't get the consumer side of the business, let's say, and you can just tell, in his speech delivery and stuff. It's like you got Panos Panay, and when he talks about Surface, he's dripping, he's oozing with passion, And Phil Spencer as well. He loves being on stage, and you can see a genuine smile on his face. But when Terry's talking about gaming, he's reading from a script, and he's not that into it, and that sort of thing. You can just sort of tell, So I don't know what Terry Myerson did or didn't do for Xbox, but I haven't heard anyone singing his praises, put it that way. So hopefully this is just going to be good stuff all around.
Yeah. So it means gaming has a bigger voice. Phil can go right to Satya instead of having to go through Terry. And it's good for the confidence in Xbox, because those rumors always float. You always have people out there be like, it's only a matter of time before Microsoft shuts Xbox down because Xbox is. Didn't you know, Jez? Xbox is failing. Didn't you know 32 million consoles means nobody owns Xbox in the world?
Yeah.
Right? Or whatever number they're at, 30 million. Who knows? Like every single day I hear a different estimation. 22 million, 26 million, 30 million, 34 million, 38 million. 40 million, whatever the number is. Didn't you know that nobody owns one? Didn't you know that Microsoft is losing money on Xbox? Didn't you know that the board wants to get rid of them? But like, when you look at it like this, they're obviously extremely pleased with Phil's work and what Xbox is doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't really promote him. And the bigger question I think this has for a lot of the people listening to the show, probably, all right, I'm not going to mince words here. This is a terrible year for Xbox exclusive lives. I've said this multiple times. There's no getting away from it, right? And everybody who's an Xbox fan knows this. It's kind of like the elephant in the room. And a lot of people view this as like Phil's getting promoted. He has a voice on the board. And what they want from Phil is they want to know if this is going to lead to potentially more exclusives down the road, because that's how gamers are. They want more games, right? Am I right in that, Jez?
Well, yeah. I mean,
right. So
people say they want more games, but they don't buy them.
So here's the thing, and I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'll answer it myself. Because that's what people are wondering in my comments in my video, and I've seen a couple comments here. Does this necessarily mean that 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, is this going to mean more third-party marketing deals, more exclusives, and more gaming studios built?
Now, this is a complicated question, and because it's like I said earlier, I think if Phil went to Terry and said, "I need this to make this happen," I doubt Terry's going to say no a lot of the time, but I doubt Terry's going to say anything that Satya Nadella wouldn't be saying, theoretically, anyway. I don't think, because Phil could just go over his head and ask Satya directly, or try and influence Satya. It's not like Phil couldn't speak to Satya without Terry Myerson say so, or try and influence Terry's decision making and stuff like that. I don't know, but I don't know for sure if this means there's going to be a big shake up in strategy at all. I think this is more of a symbolic thing of the fact that gaming is more critical to Microsoft now, and that it's more integrated with Microsoft systems now. Azure is a critical aspect of Xbox because it's part of, all modern games need the cloud, all modern games need the cloud. And how do you sell Azure to developers if you don't have gaming authority, And if you go beyond Azure, Windows as well. Windows is a growth category. Gaming is a growth category for Windows, while other categories are contracting. So I'm honestly not sure if we're going to see a big shakeup of strategy here. But I think, if in a year or two we do see a couple of games and stuff, people are going to attribute it to Phil's promotion. But that strategy was probably put in place before this happened. It's not like Phil's promotion is just going to suddenly lead to AAA games next year. This stuff takes time. It's all a big process, So I don't want to say for definite, yes, this is going to lead to a massive shakeup in what we've already seen. This has been a dry year. This has been an irregularly dry year for Xbox, and I haven't exactly heard that Terry Myerson specifically stopped Phil from doing what he wanted. I haven't heard that. So, and I feel like someone would have said something to me if that was the case. But it's hard to say. I don't know. I think this is going to be a case of wait and see, And I think one of the issues is gamers gamers are impatient, especially when we've been waiting so long for, some quality exclusives and stuff gets delayed, like Crackdown and all that stuff. People are impatient, and understandably so. That I mean, exclusive games lineup is a compelling reason to buy or not buy a console. So people want to feel like they're investing in a platform that will have these exclusives and will justify them investing in this console over another one.
Yeah, and that's the case because honestly, I've seen is like people say, why do you even care that Phil got promoted? What does it mean for you? You're not getting any of his money and stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's true. Like it doesn't have anything to do for me, but I am an Xbox consumer. I do enjoy the brand, and I'm always interested in seeing how the brand is going to go moving forward. So one of the issues that we've talked about on this podcast is this year was terrible for Xbox gamers exclusive wise. No mincing words. Worst year ever. Like, so if his promotion can help bring better games, or maybe him reporting right to Satya to get something that Terry wouldn't do, if that's a possibility, then that is better for me as a consumer. That's the kind of the way I see it. Of course,
Yeah.
like Jez says, things take time, so we won't probably see at least anything. Games take multiple years to build, so Phil already said they signed new deals. Like Satya knows content needs to come there. Like in that interview, that Phil gave. So I'm not gonna be one to say wait till next year at E3 or wait 2 years to E3. Like I'll never say that because people were saying this year wait to E3, and I was like, I was one of the few people out there. I was like, yeah, no, because you're not gonna get anything this year at E3 because we knew what was gonna happen. And then people are like, well, wait till next year. But like, yeah, maybe. I'm still not going to tell people to wait. Vote with your wallet, right? If you are that unhappy with Xbox and what they're doing, you got PlayStation and Nintendo right there. There's competition for your money, right? If you like what Xbox is doing or what they're trying to do, then get it. I don't know
Or
how else
join the
to.
PC Master Race.
Or I mean, yeah, do whatever you want. You'd want a piece. I mean, Microsoft is trying to give you. I know this kind of even goes into this whole topic of, and maybe we'll this will be a topic right now. Is Xbox Play Anywhere, Jez? Does Xbox Play Anywhere hurt Xbox, like the console business? The fact that you can buy all the exclusives on PC and not have to pay for Xbox Live Gold, like console gamers do, does that fundamentally hurt Xbox's value proposition in the eyes of potential consumers?
Nope. In the eyes of consumers, or for
well, in the eyes of people thinking about getting an Xbox, because if you already have one, obviously you're already there. So, but like you're always trying to sell new consoles to new people, and I always see the argument online that why would I get an Xbox when I can get all their exclusives on PC and they perform better, and I don't got to pay for gold?
Well, the answer to that is, well, Microsoft doesn't care because it's still an endpoint they're in control of. They're in control of the Windows Store. That's just an extension of Xbox, the Windows 10 Store. It's all the same store now. The code for the Xbox Store is the same as the code for the Windows 10 Store. You just see different elements on different platforms, So it's not like what they're doing is they're building for a future where the device you're using doesn't matter, and what matters more is the store you're using. And if they're letting people play on both PC and Xbox with a single purchase, that's a value proposition that promotes Microsoft's store, which is going to be a lot more important in the next 5 years, 10 years. I mean, people laugh about PlayStation Now, but PlayStation Now is going to be more important than PlayStation consoles in the future. And Microsoft is coming at it from a different angle. Microsoft is telling developers, look, we've got the easiest platform to develop for. You build your game. You build your game for Xbox, you'll be able to have it on all these different devices because of UWP, either natively or potentially stream from the cloud eventually. And PlayStation is doing it a different way. They're going to do it all streaming from the cloud and all that sort of stuff, and which is fine, But it's complicated because Phil Spencer's job isn't just to think about the now. And sure, that's part of his job. But Phil Spencer's job is also to try and think about the 5 years, the 10 years in the future, because technology moves so fast that companies can disappear overnight now. I mean, it's funny. I saw a Time magazine cover on Twitter a few weeks ago. I think it was from like 2001, and it was like Nokia, the company with 1 billion screens. What happened to Nokia?
What did happen? Well,
Disappeared.
Microsoft bought them, didn't they?
Well, Nokia disappeared. They fell into obscurity. Microsoft bought them out, dismantled them, and that's it. Well, they bought part of them, and now Nokia is basically just a brand name. That's all it is. A brand name and a pile of patents. That's all Nokia is now. So Nokia used to rule the world of mobile. They used to have 1 billion screens all connected to their network, but they didn't move fast enough, and they got wiped out. So that could happen to Microsoft. That could happen to Xbox if if there's a big paradigm shift, and like Sony, or even Google or Apple comes out with something that is more convenient and genuinely better than what we have now, and Microsoft isn't prepared for that paradigm shift, Microsoft will get wiped out. Thousands of people lose their jobs, blah blah blah. Microsoft gets less relevant, hurts the company. So it's Phil Spencer's job to think about the future as well, not just the now. So the whole Xbox Play Anywhere thing, Game Pass and stuff like that, all that is laying the groundwork for a future that doesn't exist yet. So I don't think it hurts Xbox. It might hurt some fanboys.
You might. I
But
mean, obviously, I think some people won't buy it for it, but like overall, like you don't think millions of people won't buy it for it, right? You're probably a couple thousand, potentially, maybe a couple tens of thousands. Because I mean, honestly, if you have a gaming PC, like, what do you need an Xbox for, right? Essentially, I mean, if you want to
well,
play Gears and hate like Gears and stuff like that, like, and you have a really good PC, I mean, you don't really need an Xbox, right?
well, that's the thing. It's a different experience. I've got a good gaming PC, but I still find myself preferring Xbox. I was sitting there playing Divinity Original Sin 2 on my PC, and I was sitting there thinking, God, I wish this was on my Xbox, because I just don't like the experience of PC gaming. I don't like the window taking over my computer, even in window mode. I don't like how fiddly it is to control everything, and I just prefer I just prefer the simplicity of console. I just do, and a lot of people do prefer the simplicity of console. Some people think PC is more cost effective, and maybe over time it is. If you buy like a really expensive PC in one day, and then you just rely on Steam sales, you're probably paying less money overall, because you don't have to pay for Xbox Live and all that sort of stuff. But if you can't afford the upfront cost of a good gaming PC, then console is a solid way to spread that cost out over time. And it's a different experience. So I don't think there's that kind of overlap yet. I don't think people are sitting there thinking, if they're a console gamer today, I don't think they're sitting there thinking, this is such a bad experience, I'll switch to PC. I don't think they're sitting there thinking that. You know,
Right. I mean, I don't know what people like. Who knows what people think? I just know that some people say I'm not going to get this because I can get it on PC, and I'm not going to get Xbox. They don't have any exclusives. Blah 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 blah. I thought we could talk about that with the Phil Spencer promotion and the Xbox Play Anywhere. But I wanted to move on to a topic, one of your kind of leaks that you got right. And I wanted to talk about that because not many people know what it really means. I want to know if you could shed some light on it for us. Now, the store page on Star Wars Battlefront 2 was updated, right? It says 4K, but of course, as we all know from Microsoft's marketing materials, 4K can mean native 4K, it can mean checkerboarded 4K, or it can mean dynamic 4K. Doesn't necessarily mean native, could mean one of the three. But it also has listed for the first time VRR, which is a variable refresh rate. Now,
Forza
Jez.
7 is also listed as
Oh,
VRR.
is it? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Um, so what does this mean, Jez? What is going on? Is this game going to be 4K 30? Is it going to be 4K 60? Is it going to be like 1080p? Like, are they going to have different modes? Like, what's happening with Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Right. So what VRR means, it stands for variable refresh rate, and basically means it supports. Well, to be quite honest, it could support one. It could mean one of two things. I mean, for most people, for PC gamers and whatever, VRR stands for games that support FreeSync, unlocked frame rates. So if a game is, because most displays are 60 hertz, right? Which means they update at 60 frames per second. So a game, to not look choppy, a game has to match 60 frames or something divisible by 60 frames. So 60 or 30. That's what most people seem to be going for, right? But if you get a game that's 50 or 40 frames per second, you get screen tearing because the screen will refresh in the middle of the frame rate, the frame changing, so you get screen tearing, you get judder, and it looks a bit weird. So one of the ways that they solve this is using G-Sync, V-Sync, and FreeSync technology. I think G-Sync's pretty much defunct now. It's all FreeSync now, and the Xbox One X supports FreeSync. And if you've got a FreeSync monitor, and a compatible monitor with an Xbox One X, in theory, a game like Battlefront could run at 45 frames per second, or it could run at an unlocked frame rate and dip between 50 and 40 and 60 or whatever, and the display will communicate with the game and make sure that it matches the frame rate, so you don't get this judder effect. So it should still appear pretty smooth. Like a first-person shooter at 50 or 40 frames per second is still pretty smooth. It's if you hate 30 frames per second for a multiplayer online shooter, 40 and 50 frames per second is like almost as good as 60. So now this is interesting because I leaked the Battlefront 2 would be 4K on the Xbox One X all the way back in February, because I saw a marketing document, an internal Microsoft marketing document that listed Battlefront 2 in a spreadsheet of games that were targeting 4K on Xbox One X. Then later on, I heard that they were testing multiple configurations, that it was going to be sub 4K, that it was going to be. I even heard that it was going to be 30 frames per second. Well, actually, I heard that it wasn't going to be 60 frames per second. And for me, that meant that it was going to be 30 frames per second. I was like, oh, are they really going to lower Battlefront 2 all the way down to 30 frames per second after the first one was 60? I don't think so. But because it supports variable refresh rates, perhaps it could be less than 60. It could be 50, or it could be 45. And maybe they're giving players the option of having native 4K or dynamic 4K or whatever, and then having this, if you've got a monitor that supports it, you can have a variable refresh rate instead. So maybe they're going to offer people different options, and I think Battlefront is probably the game to do that, because Battlefront is a game that's a little bit more casual. It's not super competitive. They let you play in first or third person, so they already give, and they let you change the field of view in the original game. So there was already some. They were already giving gamers some flexibility with that franchise and trying different things that they don't try in Battlefield, for example. So I think there is a chance that it will support the option of a variable refresh rate mode, because obviously not many people are going to have FreeSync monitors.
Hardly
and stuff
any
like that.
people are going to have FreeSync. Come on.
Yeah, hardly anyone. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's a future-proofing thing. It's, obviously looking a couple years down the road when those become available. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually know someone from the Windows Store team, so I will ask them directly what VRR means, because it could mean something else entirely. It could literally mean that there's different modes for frame rates. I highly doubt it does mean that, but what it does mean is that it'll support FreeSync on the Xbox One X, and so will Forza as well. Alex PSX just said that an article just came out.
I think he
article
said
about FreeSync.
I think he said the Navy's using Xbox controllers, which I did a video about it yesterday. Or was it yesterday? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what he's talking about. But yeah, I mean, like Star Wars Battlefront 2 4K, like, okay, this is a game that Sony has marketing rights for, even though Microsoft seems to be able to freely talk about this game in a way they can't about Destiny or Call of Duty, right? Like nobody could talk about the Xbox One X version of Destiny, even though we know it's getting enhanced, and it probably will be the best console version. Well, it will be the best console version. I don't know if you saw the picture of the Call of Duty World War II Xbox box today, which had the 4K, HDR and Xbox One enhanced logos on it. So that's probably more than likely going to be the best console version too. But Xbox, once again, can't talk about it. And Star Wars, though, they seem to be able to talk about that a little bit more. And to be fair, I thought for sure, okay, so it's September 20th, right? Sony announced that PlayStation limited edition Call of Duty system. Did you see that, Jazz? That camouflage Call of Duty system that they're putting out?
It looked like someone sneezed on it, man.
What?
It looked like someone sneezed on it.
I know, right? It looks terrible. But we're also getting really close to that time, and I haven't seen a Star Wars system announced for, like, you would think with Star Wars marketing, with the game plus the movie, which we know how well the Darth Vader system did 2 years ago. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't announced a Star Wars bundle for the PlayStation yet.
I think they might, if they are going to do one, they'll probably do it closer to the launch of the X, surely.
You think so? But then also, Sony hasn't announced their holiday bundle, because last year it was Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 was in every basically, standard slim. I was thinking they would include Horizon Zero Dawn with that. I don't know when they announced it last year. Maybe they announced it in October or something. I just kind of find that interesting. I thought for sure Sony would do a console for Star Wars, because why wouldn't you? Because Star Wars fans would buy that, right? Maybe they're doing a pro version. Who knows? And it's weird. I don't know if you saw this, Jez. Well, I know you have, but so the Call of Duty bundle is a slim, right? The limited edition, but the Destiny one is a pro, right? And I don't know if you watched Tokyo Game Show, Monster Hunter World, that edition console, which actually looks really good, is a pro version, not a slim version.
Huh.
It's kind of interesting to see where they're going at. Obviously, Call of Duty's a little more younger audience than Destiny, a little more casual, and it's obviously easier to sell them on a $300 system than it is a $450 system. And Destiny's a little bit older. Maybe they want a better performance. So it's kind of interesting to see what type of demographics they go after. So I'm kind of waiting to see a Star Wars bundle. But yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2 4K. I think it's kind of hard to speculate about this, because when they say 4K, it's is it native? Do you know if it's native or not? You just know that it's 4K, right? That whether it's dynamic or checkerboarding, right? I mean, pretty much. Am I wrong in that, Jez?
I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going for.
You don't know what they're going for. I don't know what they're going for either. It's weird. I just find it kind of strange that Microsoft can kind of talk about Star Wars in a way that they can't with the other two.
Every single deal is slightly different.
Yeah, that is true.
They do what they can to get around them, So, I mean, I think it was Phil. Phil tweeted that he'd visited Bungie recently, and that's. I mean, sure, Phil's allowed to say, "I physically went and met with Bungie," but he's not allowed to say Destiny will have an enhanced mode on the Xbox One X. But that's pretty much what he's saying. I would say, reading between the lines there. Now, why would Phil be visiting Bungie if they weren't talking about that? So I don't know. I'm not saying Phil did that tacticiously. I'm just saying they do try and get around it. So when you see them talking about Battlefront more than Destiny, it's just because of the limitations of the weird deals, man. I don't know. But yeah. I mean, yeah, man, it's weird.
We're getting close to these games, so it's if even with Assassin's Creed, that rumored 1080p 60 mode, it's we're a month away from Assassin's Creed. You would think if they had anything more to share about Assassin's Creed, we'd start hearing about it, right? If Sony had another custom console they were going to sell, you would think, hey, or you'd start hearing about it. I don't know. Like it's kind of just weird to me. Like
Well,
I'd have to go
when
and
does the game come out? You know, I mean, not the game, sorry, the movie. When does Star Wars?
the movie doesn't come out to December.
So the game comes out in November. If I
Yeah,
was Sony, I would, I'd announce it like a week before the X launches. That'd
you
be
think
when
so?
that's when I'd announce it. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
probably.
know. I'd have to go and look and see when I have to go back and look to see when they announced it in 2015, and then when they announced that Uncharted 4 bundle last year. Because if they announced the Uncharted 4 bundle in October of last year, well then I'm maybe misremembering, and maybe they'll announce it in a couple weeks. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for Star Wars Battlefront 2, whether it's in native 4K or checkerboard 4K or whatever. But if they gave me the option to play it at 60 frames at 1080p, you know which one I'm picking.
4K, right?
Fuck 4K. I don't look. I am excited to see a native 4K game finally. Well, I mean, I guess Last of Us Remastered was native 4K when I played it, but like one built for this gen basically. So like, is I know Wolf. That's the other like Wolfenstein. Did you see that Wolfenstein trailer?
I haven't seen the new one, no. Actually,
Jesus, Jazz.
was it good?
It
Dude,
was
I
incredible.
dude, I avoid marketing for games that I'm going to review because I don't want to buy
It's
into
just
the
a
hype.
trailer. It's a 2-minute trailer.
I don't care, man. I get hyped for things. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I know you get hyped for things. I get hyped for stuff too. You know.
Yeah.
Um.
I've
Speak
played it, man. I've played Wolfenstein 4K 60 frames a second in HD. I've played it. You
on
don't
what
need to tell
PC?
me. Yeah, on PC. You don't need to sell me. I'm already mind blown by it.
But dude, oh, it looks so
Wait till you see
good.
the microwave gun, man. Oh my god.
Oh,
Was the
Jazz, I can't
microwave gun
wait.
in the trailer?
But Jazz, the dilemma: do I play it day one or do I play it day one on the X? Ugh.
Oh, ooh.
That is a
Those are.
dilemma. That's a
I'll have
dilemma
to.
for me, man.
I'll have to play it on the. I'll have to play on the
Well,
Xbox One.
you'll have a freaking review unit, you bastard.
Oh yeah, maybe I will. Screw you, Rand. I'm
Hey,
gonna.
that's not fair. You're gonna rub that into my face,
Yeah, I
aren't
will.
you?
I'm gonna. Well,
You're like, look at this, Rand. And you take a picture, like, I'm playing this on the X. I'm playing this on the X. And I'm going right to PR and be like, Jez is sharing pictures, which I know is against NDA, so sack him.
well, I'll ask for special permission to tweet pictures of the X with your name on it. I'll ask for special permission, and they will say yes, and it'll be good. I'll put them on my Instagram with with face filters because the face filters are on Windows Phone now. Yay! Only like 2 years after.
uh, uh,
I'm
that,
overtired and over caffeinated right now.
now I'm not looking forward to October because I know a bunch of people are going to have the X who are quote unquote influencers and press. We're going to be like, oh my God, this game looks amazing. I'm playing it on the X and it's October 10th and I'm going to have to wait another month.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's what happens, Rand. It's what happens, when you're a pro games journalist such as myself, or a pro influencer like, I don't know,
Like PewDiePie.
like PewDiePie. Yeah, like him. Are you friends with PewDiePie?
Controversy creates cash, my friend. No, I don't
What
know.
what influencers do you know are getting next? I don't know any influencers.
I don't know.
Uh,
I'm sure some will.
I can't name any YouTubers.
Like, did I personally know?
I don't
I'm
know any
sure.
YouTube. Am I
I'm
really
sure
old?
a couple I know will get in.
I'm trying to think of YouTubers now. Jim Sterling, he's a YouTuber. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got a huge reach. Anyways,
He's probably not getting.
speaking of resolution, Quantum Break. Once again, resolution debacle with Quantum Break. I see people kind of talking about it on Twitter. They announced that it would have the 4K update, with the X. But I guess apparently Digital Foundry got their hands on it and it runs at 1440p, but then is temporal upscaled, which is what they used for the original game, all the way up to 4K. And once again, I question who really cares, but apparently people do.
Okay.
So
So wait, what are we caring about?
I don't know. Like people gave Quantum Break crap for being 720p upscaled to like 1080 originally, right? And
Right.
then then they were like, oh, it's going to get enhanced for the Xbox One. And it's going to be 4K, and it's like, okay, cool. And then it was like, well, it's 1440p and it's temporal upscaled or whatever the hell they talked
But
about,
isn't
all the way up to 4K or whatever.
Doesn't
And
it
I'm
use
just,
that on PC though? I think it uses that. It uses that on PC on UWP. The thing about Quantum Break is, I think it was hard coded that way because UWP didn't have the full feature set it needed for when Quantum Break was launched. Remember when Quantum Break launched, people were complaining about all the problems with UWP, like it didn't support things like unlocked frame rates, just little
yeah.
things like that. So if Quantum Break isn't uses temporal reconstruction on Xbox One X, it's partially because of the way it's been hard coded. And don't forget that Remedy Entertainment didn't do the port of Quantum Break. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I made a video. Supposedly, one guy did it on his free time at Microsoft on the weekends.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is a straight UWP port. So it's no wonder it's not been fully optimized properly. You know. And I've played it on maximum settings on UWP, and at 4K on my Razer, and I didn't. It doesn't look that great. I mean, there's already games that look better than it, like Forza and stuff. And I think
Yeah.
Gears of War at 4K looks better than Quantum Break at temporal upscaling 4K or whatever.
I mean, it's like Gaming Forte says in chat. Most people should be happy the game is even getting an update since one
Yeah,
person did it, you know? Which
totally right.
is, I know Microsoft really they have no plans for Quantum Break as a franchise going forward. Remedy's doing their own stuff. So it's like you said, we're lucky this game's even getting updated.
Yeah.
Because they don't care. Which speaks to Recore, because Recore got updated, which you're probably going to see Recore 2 in a couple years or a year from now.
Well, Recore was built with the X in mind because when Recore was built for UWP, it did have all those features that were ready to go specifically for the X. So there is that. But that's the thing. That's what UWP enables. UWP enables the seamless transition from Xbox One to PC to Xbox One X. It enables that seamless transition up and down resolutions and all that sort of stuff. I mean, it does that now, but it didn't support that properly at the time of Quantum Break. It was still early tech, and to be honest, it's still pretty early tech. UWP's come a long way, but it's still pretty crappy overall. I mean, have you used the Xbox app on Windows 10? It's so slow. It is
I've used it.
Slow.
It's not very good.
No, and it's so slow. Even I've got a really fast computer, and it's so slow. And that's just because UWP is not that great at handling complex stuff right now.
Yeah.
So.
Remedy does not own Alan Wake. Well, no, Remedy does own Alan Wake. They do not own Quantum Break. But yeah, Damien says Sunset Overdrive was good. That is one game I kind of would love to see them go back and enhance. One guy.
What about Rise? I want to see Rise.
Rise too, but it's like I said, there's no future in Rise. There's probably no future in Sunset Overdrive either. So it's like, wow, I could see these companies like, what's the point? Insomniac's busy doing Spider-Man, and then if that game's successful, they'll probably do Spider-Man 2. I don't really ever see them going back to Sunset Overdrive, and I know Rise. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of disappointing.
When are we getting Loco Cycle at 4K?
Local Cycle.
Why don't we have Loco Cycle at 4K?
Have you played Local Cycle?
Actually, no.
I played Local Cycle.
Is it good?
No, it's not good.
Oh, but wouldn't it be good at 4K?
No, resolution doesn't make games good.
Oh,
did I say that?
But that's what I heard.
My bad.
That's what I heard from the start of the gen, that Xbox One was bad because PS4 had 100 more pixels.
Well, I mean,
is that not true?
I mean, okay. Well, the PS4 was able to output certain games at a higher resolution, but that's just the console war stuff, Jazz. We've talked about this. They don't care about they only care about the bragging rights. And once the bragging rights switch to something else, they care about something else. You know, in the beginning, it was Xbox fans were like, "Who cares about resolution when it's about them games, son?" And PlayStation fans were like, "Who cares about games when you got that resolution?" And then
Did any
later on, it
PlayStation fans
became,
actually
and
say
then,
that?
well, I mean, I
I don't think they
I
did.
I saw it all over the place, and then suddenly it changed when the X was more powerful. To be like, who cares about games when you got that 4K textures?
Yeah, like Black Rider's got the right idea. 4K is dead. 8K
Yeah,
baby, bring on that
8K.
8K gaming.
And then it was like, who cares about resolution when you got them games, bruh? When you have them games, I don't know, whatever. Just people
Can I
people
just say
change and say things to fit their agenda that they want to
this?
push.
It's true. It is true. But can I just say something, by the way? At IFA 2017, I did see an 8K television, by the way, and I couldn't tell the difference between 8K and 4K at all.
How many more pixels is 8K to 4K?
I don't know, man. Double.
Wasn't 720p to 1080p like double too?
I don't know, man. Right, hang on. I'm gonna look. So 4K to 8K images. Yeah. Okay. So 4K is quadruple HD. 8K.
Quadruple. Oh boy.
Yeah. So there's four HD screens in a single 4K image, and 8K is quadruple 4K.
Oh boy.
So yeah, it's 4 times. So
are you telling me in 4 years we're gonna be like the system has 20 teraflops of power to do uncompromised 8K?
God, I don't know. I don't know, man. Doing the game installations would be like 200 gig, maybe more.
That is another thing. Like
Blu-ray would
Forza,
become obsoleted.
we need to talk about that. Forza, the base Forza, the one on the Xbox One S and Fat system, not the X version, is a whopping 95 gigabytes, Jazz. 95 gigabytes with only 45 on disk. So if you buy that sucker at your local store and you come home, you got to install 45 gigabytes and then you got to down the other 50. Now, granted, it's part of that intelligent design system, which we're going to talk about here in a minute because I know you wrote an article about it and you know more about it than me. But like, I think the multiplayer is on the download and some of the other stuff. So like, it gives you what you need. And from what I understand, you don't need the extra 50 gigs to play right away. And then of course, on November 7th, if you have the X, Forza is going to get all the 4K texture packs. And who knows what the size is going to be there. It's already at 95 gigs without any DLC, without any 4K textures. That thing probably go up to like 150 gigs. So what is this intelligent stuff, Jazz? Like the intelligent design delivery or whatever the heck they were talking about with the downloads and the storage space and things like that.
Now, this is something I wrote. This is funny. This is because I wrote about this earlier in the year, but someone was it Eurogamer who wrote about it, claiming it was an exclusive. I don't know.
Wasn't it Digital Foundry? Well, Digital Foundry is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I wrote about this quite a while ago because this isn't an Xbox feature. This is a UWP feature, right? And well, I suppose it's an Xbox feature too, because not all games are UWP on Xbox. But anyway, it's basically the Windows 10 store knows what kind of device is plugging into it. So if I get my Windows Phone, I can see apps on the store for my phone that aren't available on a PC because they don't make sense on a PC, or they haven't been built for a PC. Like I've got a native Slack app on my phone that isn't available on Windows 10 PC. I think the Slack app for PC is just like a desktop port or something. So the store knows what device is asking for the download. So when you download a 4K game on your Xbox One X, it will detect that you are using an X, and it will automatically, intelligently unpack the assets from the Windows cloud onto your console. If you're using an Xbox One, it will be like, oh, don't need 4K here, so I'll just give you the Xbox One version that'll have smaller download size and that sort of thing. So it just knows, man. It just knows. And you can test it yourself. If you go to games and apps and press start and select and right bumper left bumper. Well, start and select. Isn't that Super Nintendo?
Start is it's menu and window, right?
Yeah,
menu and window.
It's menu and view. So it's start and select. Okay, it's just start and select. So you press start and select and right bumper, left bumper on a tile in games and apps, and you can actually, it comes up with a secret menu that tells you what versions are installed on your console, and whether it's Xbox One X enhanced, X1X they call it in code. So yeah, it knows, man. It knows. And
It
also,
knows.
there's another aspect to this, because Microsoft knows that download sizes are going to get ridiculously huge. Like, technology always catches up in different ways. Like, game sizes are getting bigger faster than internet speeds are improving. So Microsoft are going to supplement that by, they're going to let developers deliver different parts of their games in chunks. So, for example, if you download Battlefield 1, but you have no intentions of ever playing the campaign, like me, you can uninstall the campaign to save disk space, and then you'll have just a multiplayer mode. So you'll be able to download different parts of a game in chunks, and that's another UWP feature. Like, it's sort of like an extension of streaming installations and stuff. So there's that. The Microsoft are aware that game download sizes are getting too big, and they're taking steps to fix it.
But this is going to be an issue moving forward with space. Clearly, especially if you have the X. These games are going to get absolutely huge. And the 1 terabyte hard drive on the X isn't going to be serviceable, which is why, thankfully, we can use external storage. And even still, like, I have a 1 terabyte and a 4 terabyte plugged in. The 1 terabyte is completely full. The 4 terabyte is like half. And even still, like, I delete games like pretty frequently. So I have like 200 games installed and like 600 games ready to install. And with the X coming up and all these games like Wolfenstein and Evil Within 2 and Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Call of Duty and, you know, you name it, I'll play it. Forza Motorsport 7, you know, Super Lucky's Tale, whatever. I'm going to need the space. I'm going to need that extra hard drive. I might have to get that $200 Seagate like 8 gigabyte or 8 terabyte hard drive, like USB hub or something. The one that you reviewed? Yeah.
This I've got it right here, you know. Seagate.
Would you mind sending it to me? Because I actually play games, Jazz. You can send it to me. I'll play the games.
I play games.
Oh, whatever. Look at it. He's saying he play games, guys. Mm-hmm.
I haven't played games probably for like way too long. But right now I've got the. Now this is interesting because there's also a 512 gigabyte hard drive. Well, no, it's a solid state drive. So Seagate do a solid state drive as well. So I'm gonna see if that improves load times on Battlefield, because that is slow. And then I got a 4 terabyte game drive that comes with Game Pass. Probably give that away. And also the ridiculous 8 terabyte game hub, which is pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna review all of those this week and test the speeds and all that sort of stuff. Man, I need to cut my toenails. I look like a werewolf.
A werewolf? Oh my!
I just never go outside, so I'm just a bit of a mess, man. I need some alcohol, actually. Speaking of being a mess.
So, one of the other topics I wanted to talk about was Fortnite. If you guys didn't know, Fortnite put out a new game mode like last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, where they basically copied PUBG. Now, of course, well, PUBG is also a copy of a copy, but either way, a lot of these game developers, a lot of these games are copying PUBG's success. I mean, Grand Theft Auto has their version of PUBG already. Ubisoft is like, we're going to be looking to put those types of modes in all of our games going forward. And how could they not? Because PUBG's at what, 11 million sold, 12 million sold, whatever it's at already. So Fortnite took that concept and did a 100-man battle royale. But then suddenly, a week like today, which is like a week or two after the release of that new mode, which coincidentally they also accidentally turned on crossplay between Xbox and PS4, which I'm sure we can talk about as well. They decided, you know what? Fortnite Battle Royale mode is going to be free to everybody. And it's going to come out next week. Free to play completely. No microtransactions as of yet. They said they will get cosmetic stuff. But man, people are really rushing in to get on that PUBG money, huh, Jez?
Cash money. Should we make a Battle Royale game?
We should.
Just like We
We
could make
should.
it like we could combine a hero-based gameplay like Overwatch with battle royale gameplay and make some sort of ultimate money-making machine where like you can't even move without paying for microtransactions. We'd be millionaires, Rand.
I know. I know. So
But
what's the
on
bigger
topic.
news? What's the bigger news here? That Fortnite is coming out before with the battle royale mode before PUBG gets on consoles because there is no battle royale game on PlayStation, and there's only one on Xbox, being the Culling, but that's in game preview, and I don't think that game's doing very well. PUBG is not coming to PlayStation for a long time, and who knows when it's coming to Xbox. So they have the virtue of being first on consoles. Is this a pretty good strategy for them?
Well, I'm uniquely placed to discuss Fortnite because I spent, was it $150 for the
You
big
said
bundle?
250.
Well, I was wrong. I think it's $150 for the. I spent $150 on the big Fortnite bundle because I am stupid. I'm a stupid man, and I spent all this money on the Fortnite, and I played it really hardcore for a couple of weeks, and then I realized, oh, this game's actually really shallow. And then I put it away and haven't played it since. And which is super depressing when you think about it, because I spent $150 on it. I spent $150 because it comes with extra game keys, and I was like, if I give my friends these game keys, I can guilt trip them into playing with me. But they didn't want to play because the game's just not that good. And you know, so I think it is sad and desperate that they're doing this, because that means their existing stuff isn't fun enough. So they've clearly pivoted to shoehorn this mode into the game, and also it won't be as good as PUBG because it just won't be as good.
I've heard from people that have played it. It's actually a pretty good mode. It's actually really
Well,
good,
I don't believe them,
right?
but I'm gonna install it right now. Actually, I'm gonna install it right
I installed that game because I hated it. But the other big news was that quietly they secretly and accidentally pushed the button and flipped the trigger that enabled the world-ending crossplay between Xbox One and PS4.
now. Were the kids okay?
You know what? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the kids were fine. Um,
Wow.
but I heard PlayStation people were killing Xbox people, and Xbox people were killing PlayStation people, and the world
Dang.
kept on spinning. Kids weren't in trouble, but I'm just like, they accidentally turned it on. Jazz, do you buy this accidentally stuff? Because my first kind of thought was, they just put out a new mode where it's battle royale. They accidentally turned on crossplay. Think of all the free promotion they just got because every single web art, every single, gaming outlet, every single YouTuber did a video about this because Xbox and PS4 crossplay have never been done before. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. Makes you
Are you
wonder.
saying that they did it on purpose?
I absolutely think they did it on purpose.
Oh my god.
Controversy
Well,
creates cash.
yeah, for some. But in other words, they. I don't.
Sim says 6 children died.
6 children. Well, rip in peace. Um, I think that I don't think we'll ever get crossplay between the consoles
We
because
already did though. We just did last weekend.
I mean I don't think we'll get it permanently. I don't
Mm.
think it'll be permanent, man. Because why would Sony do that? Why would Sony give Xbox any sort of competitive edge whatsoever? That they would be giving up their. If Sony opened the floodgates to crossplay, they would be giving up their purchase argument of my friend has a PlayStation, so I need one too, which is it's really powerful when you're the console that's out in front, you know. And would Xbox be doing this uh if they were in front? It's hard to say, you know. I mean, I want to believe that Phil Spencer would be the nice guy, but at the end of the day, you're conceding a lot by giving up that advantage. And I don't think it's good business sense for Sony to give up that advantage.
Well, no, if Don Matrick was still in charge, obviously none of this would happen. There's been also been a change in leadership at the CEO position, some of the top positions, plus the head of Xbox itself. So if like Xbox was number one and Don was still in charge, absolutely not. This wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And you know, Phil's in charge. There's new CEO. Uh, it's possible that they would do it even with their number one. I mean, I get it from Sony's business practices, but like all we have is Sony's official response, which is, man, someone's got to watch out for those kids, dude. You know,
Yeah. Those poor
which
kids.
those poor kids. Now, it seems pretty easy to do considering they did it accidentally in quotes. They just configuration error, just did it completely accidentally. So obviously, like the Rocket League devs have said that like they literally could turn it on with the press of a button. Like it's there, it's ready to go. It's just, you know, I don't. I wonder if Epic got in trouble. I wonder if they did, right? Or it goes the old saying, it's better to ask forgiveness than ask for permission. You know, like just
Yeah.
do it and then
I
kind
don't
of.
think Epic got in trouble. I mean, what? I mean, what's Sony gonna do? You know, put them in detention or something? And if they say it's a mistake, then you know they can hardly prove otherwise, can they? You know.
But also, I said this in my video, and I've seen it, you know, elsewhere. Microsoft shut down Xbox to PC crossplay because you can play PC to PlayStation on Fortnite, but you can't play Xbox to PC. And in the patch notes a few months ago, it was put out that per policy discussion with Microsoft, Microsoft shut Xbox and PC crossplay down.
I
But
tell you what, right? Epic love interfering with these big companies. They love it, you know. And Tim Sweeney's always doing those interviews saying how terrible UWP is, and they put that little dig in their patch notes. They didn't have to fucking do that. They just wanted to be interfering. They didn't want to. They did totally put that crossplay thing in just to interfere with Sony's policy. They totally did that on purpose, you know. And they love doing that. They're sort of kind of dicks, you know, when they're doing that. But you know, um, it's not going to go away. These sorts of things are going to keep coming up about crossplay and stuff like that. Um, and because gamers want it, but it doesn't always make good business sense for the companies that own the platforms. You know, I think one of the things that worry Microsoft about PC and Xbox crossplay is that PC versions of games can be hacked really easily, you know, compared to Xbox and PS4 versions of the games. And you know, I don't have a PS4, so I can't really comment on what it's like now. But I remember trying to play Call of Duty on a PS3, and it was just full of hackers. And I don't know if Sony just don't care so much about hacking compared to Xbox. I mean, that was a long time ago, so maybe that's the case, not the case anymore. But I do know that Microsoft does take that shit seriously, you know. So like, unless if Microsoft isn't satisfied with the anti-cheat stuff that your PC version has, they're not going to allow crossplay. Now, they don't have that issue between Xbox and PS4 because there's no real hacking on Xbox. I mean, yeah, you get people who use those keyboard and mouse converters. I mean, that's the closest thing you get to hacking, you know, on Xbox. But there's no like system level hacking, or if there is, there's very little. And if there is any hacking, it gets shut down pretty quick because Xbox has algorithms and robots that check for that sort of stuff. So I don't know how Sony feels about allowing crossplay and allowing potential hackers onto their system. And you think Sony would be more careful about it, considering what happened to PSN back in the day. But
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll never get crossplay between PS4 and Xbox.
No, you'll get it between Xbox, Nintendo, and PC. But
If
as
I
long,
was Microsoft, I would pursue that aggressively with Nintendo, just to make PlayStation look bad.
yeah, I mean, you could potentially put. I don't think Sony cares about public perception. I don't think they
It's
really
getting,
ever have. So I don't see Sony ever allowing it unless one of the bigger developers put pressure on them, like Call of Duty or like Destiny or Rockstar or something like that, where like all of the big ones put pressure onto Sony.
mm,
But then it's like, who's calling who's bluff? Because Sony could be like, okay, release Call of Duty exclusively to Xbox. See if we care. Watch your sales tank because you're only selling to half the potential user bases. And of course, actors are gonna be like, yeah, damn, you're right. Like, we can't do that. You
mhm.
know, you would think someone like Rockstar, if they really want a crossplay, they'd be like, by the way, Grand Theft Auto 6 gonna be a 6-month timed exclusive for Xbox if we don't get crossplay multiplayer. What would you think Sony would do? Sony would be like, whatever, enjoy your lackluster sales, right? I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, there's only a
they
few.
don't care. They don't care about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a few people that could get away with it. I don't know. I think you're right. I don't think we'll ever see it between Xbox and Sony. We'll see it, I think, a lot through Xbox, PC, and Nintendo quite a bit. But either way,
Yeah, you'll get it.
um,
You'll get it between Xbox and closed platforms like UWP, and maybe even the Blizzard launcher. I could see some sort of interaction between Destiny PC and Xbox because the Blizzard launcher and the Blizzard systems, they're pretty robust at anti-cheat stuff, and Blizzard police their games pretty aggressively when it comes to cheating. They're constantly perma banning people. I remember, like, back in the day in World of Warcraft, when there was a time when World of Warcraft was pretty badly hacked by gold farmers, and basically these people would use like keyboard macros and robots to walk around, farm gold automatically, and then they'd sell the gold for real money. And Blizzard have pretty much completely shut that down now. I don't think it's even possible to do that anymore. And the thing is, I remember seeing people whining on the forums like they'd been banned for botting, and then Blizzard, they went off and made a new account, and then they got banned again straight away. Like IP banned and stuff. Blizzard takes that shit seriously. So I think that's what Microsoft wants to see. If Microsoft wants to partner with PC, that's what they want to see, is that level of aggressive defense against cheating. And maybe Epic Games just well, I know Epic Games doesn't care that much about it because I had an aimbot from a real tournament myself.
yeah.
Funny.
Are you going to get the new Duke controller for the Xbox One? Because I saw Samus Blackley say today that it was approved, and you'll be able
Yeah,
to
I've
get
got
it.
my old one. Because I wrote the article about it, and I was like, I'm going to get my old one out just to take the screenshot of the photograph of the article. It's a big controller. I would hope that if he is doing that, that they would work hard to upgrade some parts of it, because the joystick, things like the joystick dead zones would piss me off after being used to the modern controllers. So I hope that at least they have some modern refinements on top of the classic form factor, shall we say. But yeah, I'll get one. I'll get one and check it out.
See, here's the thing. I thought the Duke controller was a piece of shit.
Well, it
So
was. It was.
yeah, the only I don't know why anybody wants that controller. Honestly, I think it's a
For
nostalgia trip.
nostalgia,
I
man. It's
know,
nostalgia.
man.
Seriously, who wants to play an NES? I'm sorry,
And
but
look,
the
I
NES
have
games
big
are
hands.
they're old.
I have huge hands. That controller was terrible. Like, I threw that thing away as soon as they came up with that the revision controller with an extra proper controller. I think it was like the Xbox S or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah,
Like,
the S controller. I remember
I think
that.
people just like look like, oh yeah, remember the Duke? That'd be so cool to have again. Okay,
It's just
yeah.
maybe they can improve it. Seriously. They're like, if they improve the joysticks and the buttons and the triggers and stuff like that, I'll give it a go. Hell yeah, I'll give it a go.
Great. So not only do we have them making like a whole bunch of extra controllers, we're also gonna probably have all them making a bunch of extra Duke controllers too. Wonderful. That's what we need. That's what we need more on Xbox with more controllers.
What do you hate controllers, friend?
I love controllers. I love my buddy James. I love controllers. I'm just saying. I do need a new controller. God, I
Try
can't even
speak.
speak.
Get your words out, Rand.
I
slowly.
wear out my controllers pretty damn quick. They don't even last a year for me at most. I just have to. I go through so many games and so many controllers. Like I need a new one.
It's that furious Barbie gameplay.
You don't understand until you play Barbie. You don't get it, man. You just don't get it. See, like I need to have a conversation with someone who's been through the trials and tribulations that I have. You know, who's been through the trenches of Barbie.
Well,
and through the grinder that is my horse and me too, to fully understand, get me.
Have you played Track and Field on the PlayStation 1?
Yes. No, well, I played it on the 360, but yeah, I played Track and Field.
I've destroyed controllers playing that game, trying to win the races, smashing the buttons and stuff. I broke many a controller playing that.
Oh wow! I just got a
flashback to Metal Gear Solid 1. And Psycho Mantis being like, I see you like sports games when he reads your memory card with Track and Field on it.
I see you like sports games. Anyways, another new feature that came to Xbox this week was the game DVR was upgraded from 720p to 1080p. So you can record your game clips in glorious 1080p at 2 minutes max on the console, although you can now plug in a USB 3.0 stick. And you can, record right to the stick instead of the internal hard drive in the cloud. And you can actually record up
2 minutes if you're doing the stick.
I don't know because I just bought I couldn't find mine, so I just bought one on Amazon today, a 64 gig one for like $10 or whatever. I'll let you know, but I don't think so. I think the record that is 2 minutes. But if you have the space on your 3.0 USB stick, you can record up to an hour, and then, of course, take it from the stick, put it on your PC, and do all you really want to it, although you can't then edit it in Upload Studio. So it's pretty cool that they increased the resolution, because I used Upload Studio and Xbox Game DVR for a lot of my Ranzini Spotlight games, and yeah, 720p resolution isn't the best, especially when you can do it in 1080p, so I think this is pretty cool, and, they already said X will record in 4K, which I'm assuming is one of the reasons why they have the key, the USB key, right? Because 4K file sizes are pretty astronomical, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I remember because at events, Microsoft use a capture card. They're called what are they called now? I think they're called a Atomos or something. It's basically like a dedicated. It's a small computer, basically. It's like a giant tablet. And you can plug it directly into an Xbox and do the capture right onto that device. But because it doesn't do any of the optimization, because that requires extra processing, the file sizes are like gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes big. So it'll be interesting to see how Xbox handles the 4K file sizes, whether they'll be like completely uncompressed and stuff like that. I noticed there's no information about that yet, because it's probably going to be a nasty surprise, because I haven't got a 4K capture card, so I'll have to use the Xbox One X to do the 4K capture for the review. So it'd be interesting to see how it does handle the 4K captures and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely try to use it for some of my reviews before I get me a when I buy my new PC. I'm gonna also get an Elgato so I can do direct capture, and I can do streaming with all that cool stuff like on Mixer and stuff like that. So that'll be pretty cool. I just need to.
Pretty cool.
Oh well, thank you, Jez. Thank you. So Michael Pachter's back in the news again. I know you love talking about him. I don't know if you saw what he said this time.
My friend. Me and Michael Pachter, we are tight.
You're buddies. So
we're best friends. Yeah.
He is saying now that if he had to bet, he thinks the PS5 is coming out in 2020. He says Sony's making so much money on the PS4, they'll milk it as long as they can. The natural extension is that the PS4 Pro just becomes the default PS4. He said that the PS5 is probably becoming the real 4K device, and they won't start selling that before PS4 sales decline. So if PS4 sales slow down in 2019, they'll probably launch the PS5 in 2020. Which I've always thought it was either going to be 2019 or 2020. I thought maybe 2019 was a little bit tad bit earlier, but 2020 seems about right to me.
Yeah, I would. I'd guess the same. Obviously, Sony aren't going to want Microsoft to have the power narrative for too long. So,
Well, I mean, it may not even matter because what happens if Microsoft has the power narrative, but they don't outsell PlayStation? Like, does it really even matter at that point? Sony may just be like, we're just going to make money selling the PS4.
well, they don't want them to have the power narrative at all. I mean, it's still it's it's a string in the cap. For people who are investing in the ecosystems for the first time, they don't want Microsoft to have any sort of advantage. I wouldn't expect that. And
Okay, well,
also, it's
yeah, I
like,
get that.
why? And also, it's for game devs as well. Game devs, at the end of the day, I mean, for the big publishers, yeah, it's a business, but the game devs are also they're artists, they're creative people. They don't want they don't want to just sit around at 1080p forever. They want to upgrade to 1440p or full 4K and stuff like that. They want to push the technology as well. I think that's something that we often forget, that it's not just a business; it's also a creative industry, which is why Divinity Original Sin was made. Divinity Original Sin is currently 93% on Metacritic. It's probably going to be contender for Game of the Year, if not just winning all Game of the Year awards this year. That is not going to make the kind of money Destiny's going to make. It doesn't have any microtransactions. A lot of the content in that game are probably a lot of people won't even see because it's a branching narrative. I'd be surprised if everyone who buys it actually completes the game. But they made it because they're passionate and they love the genre and they wanted to make the best CRPG that's ever been made. And it looks like they might have actually achieved it. They're artists.
Yeah,
So Sony can't just decide we'll just have these weak consoles forever, because developers would get bored eventually, if not consumers. So I think 2020 is a good bet for PS5.
yeah, and that's probably also because Microsoft's not going to want Sony to have the power narrative either. So they'll be coming out with the Xbox One Double X at some point, whether it's 2020 or 2021. Personally, I think they'd come out the same year, whatever Sony does, because at that point,
Well,
if you're,
they did say somewhere in some interview that the plans for the next Xbox are already
well,
already
yeah,
happening.
and I'm sure Sony's started working on PS5 already, but like the way this is going is, I don't either company doesn't want either company to have a head start, basically, or any sort of like a leg up on one or the other. And yeah, Microsoft's been very forthcoming about no generations, everything works and all that stuff. Okay, great. But like Sony still hasn't said anything. So like if they go from PS4 to PS4 Pro to PS5, a lot of people would like be like, okay, the PS5 is the start of a new generation. Where, I mean, Xbox, to then they release what, Xbox Double X2 to, I don't know how that's going to plan out, but I would assume that Microsoft would release a console at the same time as the PS5 or shortly thereafter, right?
Yeah.
Unless, of course, everything goes to the cloud. I don't know. Like instead of like sell you a $50 like USB stick and you stream your games or something. Because like EA's even talked about that recently. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, what did they
Uh,
say?
no, they want everything to be a subscription service, and like these companies do, because like they want to be able to sell you like a $40 thing where like you rent the games from them and you play it on their, like they basically control literally everything. You no longer actually own the games. You have to. I don't know. They talked about that recently. It was like a week ago, but the internet just isn't really up to snuff in a lot of places to be able to do that. So who knows?
No.
But yeah,
Well, and that's the way it's going to go. I mean, we've got Netflix now, because we got Netflix for streaming videos now, because that's as much as the internet can handle today. In the future, we'll have streaming games, we'll have streaming operating systems. It's like, I think one of the reasons Microsoft isn't pushing mobile anymore is because they realize that the future, it'll just be like you have your screen in your pocket and you just stream whatever operating system you want to it. So maybe like, I just stream Android to my service phone when I want to use Snapchat, and then switch back to Windows after or something. I don't know. It's gonna cloud streaming from the cloud is gonna change everything. That's why Microsoft have been so smart to position themselves so firmly in the cloud, and I think they're very close to overtaking Amazon Web Services as the biggest cloud provider. Microsoft Satya. I mean, people slate Satya Nadella because he gave up the phones and he dismantled Nokia and stuff like that. But they all know that the cloud is the future. If we don't get World War III, that is, and the infrastructure gets completely wiped out in a nuclear explosion. But if internet speeds keep getting faster across the board, and my internet speed got upgraded again recently, just because the base speed increased, so everyone got a free upgrade. Um, so that is a future, at
That is
least
the
in the
future.
West.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that everything pans out. But yeah, we'll take like one or two questions real fast, and then we'll get out of here because we got things to do. Jez got stuff to do. It's late for Jez.
I'm in the UK at the minute, so it's not actually that late now. And
No.
when I was in Germany, pushing midnight is pretty late, but it's 11 p.m. now, so I'm just downloading a load of games because my UK Xbox doesn't have many games on it.
Right.
I'm
So
downloading.
hit us up with the questions. We'll answer some. I gotta play some Uncharted 4 tonight. I also gotta prepare my review for Until Dawn for tomorrow. Until Dawn was
Oh,
yeah.
that's a good question from Damien
What's your
Johnson.
what's your game of the generation from Damian Johnson? Interesting.
Witcher 3.
Ori and the Blind Forest.
Witcher 3. I can't pick anything else. And then
Ori and the Blind
Prey,
Forest.
then Prey, followed closely by
You know,
Prey.
not for me. Nothing comes close. I mean, okay, I have a personal connection to Ori and the Blind Forest. I absolutely adored that game when it came out, and then of course the achievement for beating the game again on the definitive edition is the one I used to get a million gamer score at E3. So I have that kind of tie to it. So for me, it is the game of the generation for me. But I understand why people will be like, really, Rand, out of everything that's come out this gen, it's a Ori little platformer. You're damn right. You're damn right.
Ori's up there. Ori's in my top 10, I would say, because I was when I was a kid, I was hospitalized for a long time, and one of the games that I used to play while I was in hospital was Super Metroid. So I've got this like huge, you know, love for any game that's sort of Metroidvania-esque.
Yeah.
So
So Saltiest Gaming, what's up, buddy? Where did the title Randall Soft Serve come from?
yeah,
I always get that, and I always get the man with the million thing because people discover me like, hey, what's the man with the million thing? It's like I don't know if I like the man with the million thing is got a million gamer scores. Somebody said that to me on TXR podcast. They called me the man with the million, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I'll use that. But Randall Soft Serve happened at E3 2016. They had a soft serve ice cream machine at a event that we went to, and I grabbed me some soft serve ice cream as you do, right? And we're chilling with like Southbound and Tim Dog and Downer and all those guys. And South loves to take pictures, like especially around E3. Loves to do the Snapchat and he loves to do the pictures and stuff like that. So, and I'm not one to take pictures, like I'm not that type of person. I don't like taking pictures. So like every single time I'm like, really another picture? So I'm here eating my ice cream. I got it in my hand and he takes a picture and my face just said it all. It was like, really another picture, right? And then I think somebody like taglined it like Randall Soft Serve because people love to do that to my name. It's like Randall PS4, Randall Snore, Randall Soft Serve, Randall whatever. They always just, they cut out the Thor at the end and put something else in. But that's the soft serve story. Damien wants to know if we're playing Marvel vs. Capcom. That is a no for me. What about you, Jez?
no, not really. I don't have a lot of time for fighting games because I suck at them. So when I do play them, it's always Killer Instinct because that's the only one I've played a lot of. So I always feel like if I'm playing another fighting game, that could be practice for Killer Instinct.
Yep.
Weirdly.
Nappy Boy wants to know when the Lumia Surface Xbox is coming out.
Well, the Lumia brand is dead. We're never going to see another Lumia ever, which is kind of sad. If they ever do make another phone ever, it's going to be Surface branded. But we probably won't even see a Surface phone, to be honest. I mean, do you want to know what Microsoft are doing with that stuff? This kind of has implications for Xbox, by the way. Microsoft are making Windows modular, right? So like if you think of Xbox right now, Xbox is sort of like a stripped down version of Windows. Like in the future, what Microsoft want to do is they want to have a stripped down version of Windows that can fit on any device. So if you've got a stripped down version of Windows for a console, you've got an Xbox. If you've got a stripped down version of Windows for a phone, then you've got a phone and stuff like that. And you'll be able to pick and choose different like Windows modular Windows, which is called the Andromeda operating system. You'll be able to pick and choose different parts of Windows for your device. So like you could have a phone that runs the Xbox interface if you wanted to make a gaming handheld PC, for example. Or you could have a gaming PC that runs the Xbox interface and plugs into the Xbox store, So Rand, in the future we might even see third party Xboxes being made.
Oh man, here we go. uh, anyways, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Face 23 BKNY wants to know if Microsoft will be getting more marketing deals in 2018 so they can push the X. I would say probably no.
I don't think Phil sees the value in those marketing deals.
I think most companies want to market with Sony because they are the de facto leader in console, and a lot of people just want to align themselves with the number one brand. So a lot of people just want to do that, and Microsoft will probably pick up, the Assassin's Creed or like the Shadow of War, like the one games that like Sony just really doesn't have any money for. Plus, Microsoft will maybe have Halo next year, so that's a big game in itself.
Do you think Halo next year?
I go back and forth all the time with this, man. Like, they have to. They have to, because if they don't, it screws everything up. That means it screws up the cycle for Gears, right? If Halo is 2019, that means Gears can't be 2020 because they're not going to release them in both years, unless Gears is next year, unless they somehow pumped out a Gears 5 in 2 years, right? And then they just have Halo in 2019. There's either a Gears or a Halo coming out next year. And most numbered Halo games have a 3-year dev cycle. Next year is 3 years. So, like, they need a big game, and Halo is their biggest franchise. Yeah, it'll be Halo, Halo 6 and Forza Horizon 4 in the holiday. Unless they have some huge, uber ridiculous, like, third-party deal or something in the works, or they can be like, okay, we're fine with Halo coming out in 2019, but, like, I think it has to come out next year, man. I think it has to, because I think too much gets screwed up at that point. Because like we just talked about, like 2020, like if PS5 is releasing in 2020, like do you want Gears of War? I would imagine like Gears in 2019 and Halo in 2018, and then like the next iterations of those games coming out for Xbox Double X. But if like Gears comes out in 2020, then you're really not looking until like 2023. I don't know. I think like not having those games next year kind of screws up a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think like the next Halo has to be a special game. After Halo 5 was like had a pretty mixed reception, and yeah, it made a lot of money because the microtransactions, and they've supported it really well in the multiplayer. But for the fans of the campaign side of Halo, I think it's a controversial entry. I think a lot of people regard it as the worst campaign in the series. Would you say that's fair?
Which one? What was the question?
Halo 5, worst campaign in the series.
I mean,
I thought it was.
I mean, it wasn't as good as some of the. I don't know. I never really liked Halo 1's campaign though, but I played that 5 years after it came out. So
yeah, it's hard to judge Halo 1 because it's so old. But
yeah, so I don't know. Like this will be interesting though, because if Halo does come out next year, like that is a really kind of short hype cycle for it. Maybe they learned from like Bethesda. Like Bethesda announces Wolfenstein and Evil Within and like all their games basically 6 months before they come out, and people still get hyped for it. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But
I wanna take Damien D's question. Are you hyped for Monster Hunter World coming next year? Are you
no,
into you're not
uh,
into Monster Hunter? Now,
no.
I never played a Monster Hunter game before, but I am excited to try out Monster Hunter World. It looks pretty badass. But from what I understand, they're pretty different games. Like they're pretty grind heavy and stuff. I don't know. I'm
I'm just
intrigued by it though.
I've never played a Monster Hunter game, and it just doesn't appeal to me. You know, and I don't know. That's all I can really say. Like, not every game appeals to me. I'll try a lot. Maybe if I know because it comes out January 26th. Maybe if there's nothing coming out at that point, maybe I'll check it out. But like currently, I don't really have any plans to.
I know Capcom seem to like January for a launch window, don't they?
Yeah, I mean Resident Evil 7 came out in January.
Didn't the Dead
Or,
Rising come out in January once?
I don't know.
Or in
January
December?
can be pretty good for some games.
Yeah, Resident Evil did. Resident Evil was great. Resident Evil 7, great game.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear on Major Nelson's blog? They announced that Far Cry 5 is getting an Xbox One X enhanced already, which is another Sony marketing deal game. And they already
Didn't
kind of
Battle...
talking about
Someone said Battlefield 1 got announced as well.
that. I don't know. I mean, I would assume.
I would
Hopefully,
hope so.
as
Battlefield
many
1
games, yeah.
so good.
A lot of games get enhanced, but like I tend to go forward. The only reason I'm playing some of these older PlayStation games is because I haven't played a PlayStation game, so it's like I have a lot of backlog to choose from. You know, I'm
Mhm.
gonna beat Uncharted 4, and then at that point, it's like, all right, Horizon Dawn is pretty much next, and then maybe after that, Ratchet and Clank, and then potentially Near Automata. Yeah.
I need to
Um,
finish Nier Automata.
let's see. We got
Nier
any other?
Automata is a great, great game. That's one game I'm super salty about not being on Xbox. Is Nier
I'm
Automata.
s- I'm surprised it hasn't come yet, to be honest with you, unless like it's coming next year. And also, I'm kind of surprised that Crash hasn't been announced for Xbox yet. I mean, it's end of September. You know, the rumors were December and still not announced yet. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of
Ooh,
Gamescom came and went.
yeah.
You know, and maybe it really isn't coming. I don't know.
Metal Gear Survive is Xbox One enhanced.
Nobody cares about Metal Gear Survive. Nobody cares about Metal Gear without Kojima, right?
Yeah, this is true. Metal Gear
Nobody.
Survive is going to be trash. I'm not going to touch that with a barge pole.
Yeah. Uh, Mohammed asks, when do we think Ashen will come out?
Now, that's interesting. I played Ashen at E3, and it was my game of the show. I absolutely loved it. Did you play Ashen? No, you weren't at E3 this year.
I wasn't at E3 this
Oh,
year.
dude, going to E3 was worth it just for Ashen. It was that good. Um, it's such a strange, haunting game, like ghostly almost. It's very strange. It's hard to describe, and the asynchronous multiplayer is also really well done. Like people just appear in your game, like when you need them, and if there's no players there, you get like an AI ghost or something. But if there is a player nearby, they just sort of appear in your game, and you can only communicate through gestures. You can't see their gamer tag. You can't talk to them. It's super weird. It's like I don't know any experience like it. But Ashen is probably going to be. I'm going to guess that it's going to be 2018 holiday season. I would think because I don't think that game is. I don't think it's. I think it's one of those games that they're expanding the scope of. They got a lot of positive feedback at E3, and I think when they get positive feedback at some of these shows, they'll probably get additional funding to try and make the game
Yeah.
even better.
Okay, question for you. What comes out first, Ashen or Below?
Ashen. I think Ashen will probably come out before Below. God knows what's going on with Below. It's gone below radar. See what I did there?
I did. It is supposed to be Xbox One X enhanced too. So who knows? I don't think it's coming out this year for sure at this point in time.
No,
You know?
Ashen. No.
No,
Ashen is definitely.
I
Oh,
mean
Below.
Below.
Yeah, I think that with Below, I think if Xbox, because Below had the sort of Idea Xbox premium marketing. So certain games at Idea Xbox get like selected for additional marketing pushes and stuff. So like I think if Below does resurface and like, Microsoft like it and think that it's going to be a big deal again, they'll probably do a big push for it at E3 to reintroduce it to the world. It's a shame Below fell off the radar because I played it at E3 and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, there was some systemic issues with it. Like, man, the art style was counterintuitive. It was like you couldn't see what you were doing. The dude was so small on the screen. Even when you were right up to the screen, you couldn't see what the hell you were doing. And people were complaining that it hurt their eyes, So I think they realized that they had to fundamentally change some parts of the game because of the feedback they got at E3, which is why they've sort of gone dark for the moment.
Right.
But I do hope it comes back.
I hope it does too. I do like their games. Yeah, so see, we don't really have any more questions. We're gonna end the show at this point. So I just wanted to thank you guys for watching. We had about 220 people. We got 202 now. If you enjoyed the podcast, hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you want to support me and the videos I do, there is a sponsor button at the top. You can always sponsor the channel. It's like a subscription to Twitch or Mixer. You get a custom little badge like Jez has in chat and stuff like that. And I'll have some emotes coming too. Follow Jez on Twitter. His link is in the description as always. Jez, what do you have cooking at Windows Central for the rest of the week? Any interesting articles to keep an eye out for?
Well, I'm going to write an article that goes into some depth and speculation about what Phil Spencer's promotion means for Xbox and the psychology of Microsoft. I mean, pretty much stuff we talked about on the show. I'm also reviewing a gaming chair this week. So that should be fun.
That should definitely be fun.
Got a huge gaming chair in the mail today, which was strange, but awesome at the same time. Reviewing those Seagate game drives I was on about. Just a load of accessories, really.
Yeah, and the Xbox One X, which is going to give a 5 out of 5. You heard it here first. Confirmed. You don't even have to use it. It's a 5 out of 5. Bastard.
I'm going to give it 10 out of 5.
I hate you right now.
I can't wait to send you pictures of it.
You send me those pictures, I'm sending them to PR. I'm sending them to people I know at Xbox. Trouble. I know people, Jazz.
Wait till you see the boot animation on that thing.
Oh boy.
It is sexy.
Yeah, so Until Dawn review will be out tomorrow. Shooting for the Uncharted 4 review on Friday. Obviously more videos dropping every single day about stuff I found interesting. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell in case so you're always notified. Next week for the 25th anniversary, since it's the 25th episode, we might have an announcement about iTunes coming up soon about being able to listen to the show on other places. Figured I'd do something special for the 25th one.
Sure.
So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for rocking out with us. Hope you guys have a good rest of the day. And we'll see you next week on September 27th for episode number 25 of the Xbox 2. Later, guys.
Take care, everybody.